From around the globe, the greatest warriors in the world collide man to man in the great cities of the world to decide who is the world's real fighting champion. Get ready. It all starts right here, right now, on the International Fighting Championships World Tour.
Next, our fourth match, and that ought to be a good one. Fred Flойд, an American, against Ігор Вовчанчин from Kharkiv, Ukraine. That's our next match here on the International Fighting Championships. All right, we're ready for our fourth bout here in the International Fighting Championships. Kiev, Ukraine, the capital city of Ukraine. And what a place to have our International Fighting Championship World Tour stop. And this ought to be a great battle. Our fourth fight, Fred Flойд from Ontario, California, going up against his man from All right, in Kiev, Ukraine, what a great stop for the International Fighting Championship World Tour as we get ready for our fourth fight here in the International Fighting Championship. It will be the American Fred Flойд, who is about to enter the cage here in Kiev, Ukraine.
The Mangler. The way I got that name is one of my opponents, I beat him so bad that his own manager couldn't recognize him after I pulverized his face. Yeah, I started out with the Budokan Kung Fu. I've been with that about 10 years. Then I got into kickboxing. And after doing that for a couple of years, I've achieved a US ISKA title and the PKA title. And then from there, now I'm doing the no-holds-bar fighting. So it's a lot more exciting and exhilarating because you can do more than just one thing. I'm looking forward to fighting everybody because the Mangler has a little special something for everybody.
He will go up against, from Kharkiv, Ukraine, Ігор Вовчанчин. And this guy knows how to fight. He is Budokan Kung Fu fought, that being Fred Flойд, against kickboxing Denmark-style heavyweight Vovchanчин. And Ron, these are two different, totally different styles. As you see, Fred Flойd, the Mangler, with his entourage of American fighters, just like the rest have done, enters the cage area.
Well, the Mangler's from the same school as Red Herd, so you know this is going to be a tough fight. But he has a good man that he's fighting. Vovchanчин is one tough kickboxer. And you can never tell about these David and Goliath matches. It all comes down to technique, stamina, and endurance.
A lot of difference in size in this bout. Fred Flойд very worked up as he gets ready to enter the diamond. He stands in at 6'4", 340 pounds. His opponent, Ігор Вовчанчин, 5'9", 207 pounds. He's 22, Fred, 32 years old. And this ought to be a great fight. We go to ring announcer, Charlie Anselon.
First I have fighting to my left. He hails from the city of Kharkiv, Ukraine. He is a kickboxing champion, weighing in at 207 pounds. Give a warm welcome to Ігор Вовчанчин. And his opponent fighting to my right. He fights for the Budokan Kung Fu system. He's the California State Amateur Super Heavyweight Kickboxing Champion, weighing in tonight at 340 pounds, 6'4" tall, from Ontario, California, Fred the Mangler Flойд. Referee, once again for the action inside the cage will be Andy Anderson.
or the much bigger fighter against the smaller guy, and that lasted all of 15 seconds.
David and Goliath, you can never tell about that. It's all about technique, stamina, endurance.
All right, Ігор Вовчанчин weighs in 207 pounds against the 340-pound Fred Floyd, who goes right after him. Wow! Fister just flying all over, a knee to the side. Both these fighters going all out. They are not going to grapple on this one. Both fighters going at it. Now a sight of grappling as Fred Floyd had enough to the face, enough to the body. He decided he needed to wrap this guy up and trying to get the hits to the face and to his body.
Yes, he surely needs to, but because as I read here in my papers, this Russian guy, he has 57 fights, 3 losses and 37 knockouts. So he's a very good puncher also. But Fred the Mangle Floyd, he's a very heavy guy. And again, as you saw in the last fight, weight is a thing you can use very good in an ultimate fight.
Okay, the Mangler is holding Igor against the ropes there, and it looks like he's just pressing that weight against him, trying to wear him down.
Ah, Fred Floyd takes him inside the cage, puts him on the deck, and this is where the grappling comes into play. Can you get your opponent into some sort of submission hold to get this bout over? Remember, keep in mind that the winner of this bout must face Paul Varlins also in the semifinals. That match lasted 5 minutes and 12 seconds. Whoever can get this match over much quicker would have much more stamina for that match coming up.
Yep, I think so. Floyd is using his weight. He's perfectly in balance. He must try to get out of this guard because the guy has a good guard. Because when he's out of the guard and he comes on top of the Russian, he can punch 10 times easier than he's at this moment.
So the fight right now taking place in the exact middle of the diamond. It is Fred Floyd on top of Ігор Вовчанчин from Kharkiv, Ukraine. Again, this guy is a world kickboxing champion, martial arts world champion in Moscow only last year. Fred Floyd, he is a super heavyweight. He has U.S. titles. He is a 70% fighter with his hands, his knees, his legs. So he might be a little more uncomfortable in the grappling style than perhaps Vovchanчин.
When you have a 340-pound guy like the Mangler on top of you, it impedes your breathing, it impedes your punching, it impedes your kicking. I mean, you're going to have a hard time getting up unless you know more about grappling. It doesn't look like he has much grappling technique.
Fred Floyd, by the way, if he looks familiar, maybe you've seen him in some of the TV shows in and around America, had spot shots on the Fresh Prince, Seinfeld, Family Matters. The crowd's getting into it as Andy Anderson separates the fighters because, again, the hand gear has come off the Russian, Ігор Вовчанчин, and that right now seems to be the problem. Having a hard time keeping the hand gear on. The Americans seem more like they want to have theirs taped up. The Russians, the Ukrainians decide they much rather have the Velcro that keeps them on, although referee Andy Anderson has now taped on Ігор Вовчанчин's right hand bandage, also with the left hand as well, to keep the fighters unable to do much with their hand gear.
I mean, you really have to give Igor credit because to hold it his own with a 350-pound man, I mean, it's really something because the Mangler is quite talented and he's experienced in full contact, no rules events.
Keep in mind, this bout has already gone over 3 minutes. Time here, a resting time for both fighters. Vovchanчин now appears ready. He's got his hand gear all taped up. Andy Anderson throws the spare tape outside the cage. Floyd comes right back after him, as does Vovchanчин. And Boss, it looks like both fighters now trying to size the other one up.
Yes, I think they try to punch and kick each other, of course they do, but then they try to put each other on the ground, and who's in best position, in top position, he's in the best position. Oh, the collar is very good.
What a hit there. That has got to sting, Ron.
Great right hook from Igor. I mean, he's not intimidated at all by the Mangler.
Again, this is one of those fights, much like we saw earlier in the International Fighting Championships tournament that's already taken place. A much smaller guy against a bigger guy, and yet it's the smaller guy with more power in the way he delivers his punches.
Igor has some right hook. And now he's using his strategy. He's holding back, making the Mangler chase him. He's taking advantage of his speed. He's working on his suspension system. He keeps kicking the Mangler's knees, which is going to slow the Mangler down.
Over 4.5 minutes already elapsed in this bout. The first half of the bout seemingly almost entirely on the ground, with the Mangler trying to just put his entire weight on Vovchanчин. This time, both fighters trying to use their martial arts skills to get the advantage.
Yep, that Igor guy is very good shape. You can see it. And Floyd is already breathing heavy. And that Igor guy is also very quick and very fast. So I think this is going to be a very interesting fight on the ground. I think Floyd is the better one, and, or the better one, the most advantage one. Oh, and standing up. That Igor guy is doing a very good job. A very good job. I think he's going to suplex him now.
Now behind Floyd. Floyd breaks out of it and wanted no part of that particular move by the Ukrainian. Now both fighters still up on their feet. Are you surprised that neither one has gone to grappling techniques after what happened the first half of this match, Ron?
I expect to see more grappling from the Mangler. I mean, he's a jiu-jitsu man, but this small guy, Igor, is very talented, good footwork, and great hand techniques. He keeps keeping the Mangler balanced by kicking his suspension system. And those knee kicks, those leg kicks, will slow you down.
Ron Van Cleef, the 5-time world kickboxing champion, alongside Bas Rutten, who is currently the king of martial arts in Japan. Right now, what a fight we have going on here. The fourth fight. All kinds of martial arts, boxing, going at it right now. This flare and this crowd is in to this international no rules fighting championship. And what about we're seeing as we go over the 6-minute mark. This is the longest bout we've had so far in the quarterfinals.
Yep, Fred is in the...
Igor is just setting up his shots. He's taking advantage of the slowness of his opponent. And it looks like the Mangler's getting a little tired.
He's getting tired, but it looks like the lips around Vovchanчин are starting to get a little puffy, as if perhaps Floyd has landed a couple of either elbows or fists to that ring area. Wildly swung, knees to the groin. All kinds going on here in this no-rules boxing fight. A cut underneath the eye. Andy Anderson, the referee, stopping the bout only for a second. Again, safety is the key issue here. 4 doctors on hand, 2 ambulances. We don't want these fighters to leave the ring with any serious injuries, and this is important, Boz. As a fighter, you want to see this take place.
Yes, very important. You saw him give him the right hook, and the right hook cut up his eye. And when he cannot fight anymore because of the cut, it's finished also. So that's the real fighting here.
Again, the sound of the ching, ching, the sound of the gate closing on the cage, which means only the 2 fighters and the referee, Andy Anderson, are back in. Fred the Floyd, the Mangler from Ontario, California, against Igor Vovchanчин of Kharkiv, Ukraine. What about this is, we're over 7.5 minutes into the bout. This has got to be a big difference when either of these guys go on to the semifinals. Again, another knee to the groin of Floyd. And now, both fighters trying to get the advantage in some kind of grappling style, because I think, Ron, the martial arts is taking its toll on both of these guys.
Of course, they've been in the ring quite a bit of time by now. Igor is really tough. I mean, he's using strategy now. He's taking his time, and he's moving around, and he's waiting for Floyd to make the mistake.
Yep, that's exactly what he's going to do. And Igor guys got good conditioning, everything. Oh, no, this is a bad thing. Never show your opponent that you're tired, because you get wings, and it's very dangerous for Floyd.
Couple of minor little kicks to the shin of Floyd by Vovchanчин, and this again has gone past the 8.5 minute mark in this bout as the crowd starts to get behind Vovchanчин. That is their man, Ukrainian, and you can't blame him, here in Kiev, Ukraine, the capital city, as we are in this stop of the International Fighting Championship World Tour. And now again, both fighters going for the martial arts. Another knee to the groin, another one, that one from the left, from Ігor Vovchanчин against Fred Floyd, whose eye is very puffy from the hits he's taken from Vovchanчин. Ron, I don't think this match is going to last much longer.
It isn't going to go much longer. It looks like Floyd is almost out of it. He's breathing hard, and he's not being aggressive. Igor has moved in with a great right hook and a knee to the groin.
Yep. And Igor guy is very good at this moment, and Floyd shows he's very tired. The guy's getting wings, what I told you before. So it's going to be very dangerous for Floyd now, because Igor is waiting and waiting for a mistake from Floyd. And Floyd is getting tired, more tired.
Floyd, by the way, started martial arts as he was a passive kid in high school. Tired of getting beat up. He was only 6 foot tall. He now stands 6'4". He was severely beaten up in a gang fight. Decided he no longer wanted to be the passive guy. Took up martial arts in 1986, started training, and here he is now in the International Fighting Championships. Right now, fighting for his life against Ігор Вовчанчин. And man, this has been quite a fight. Over 10 minutes now in this bout, Ron.
Now, time will tell in a match like this. Igor keeps kicking at the knee with the shin kick, and he's slowing the Mangler down. We can see the Mangler is having a hard time throwing technique. His breathing system's almost shut down.
Boss, I think very much that I think at this point, Fred Floyd would rather be back as the bodyguard or stuntman in such episodes as the Fresh Prince or Seinfeld, rather than being inside this guy who has so much power with the way he strikes with his legs and his hands.
Yes, and with a lot of technique also. And his conditioning is very good. He gave him some knees in the groin. That also takes a lot of your air, and air is what Floyd needs right at this moment.
Again, Floyd, a student of Budokan Kung Fu. Ігор Вовчанчин, a student of kickboxing. He is a man who seems very much at ease, also using his hands. And Ron, that was your style when you became the 5-time world championship. What do you like?
Great right hook by Igor to the face of the Mangler. Both of these men are showing courage and stamina and endurance. And this is one of the best fights of the night.
We are over 11 minutes in this bout, the 4th one of the quarterfinals, the very last one of the quarterfinals before we move into the semifinals, before we crown the International Fighting Championship on this stop of the International Fighting Championship World Tour in Kiev, Ukraine. It looks very much like right now Ігор Вовчанчин has the advantage in this bout, although who knows, the longer this goes along, how much longer Floyd can stay upright.
Yes, that's what I'm wondering also. By the looks of it now, it's not going to last any longer. So I hope Floyd is always hitting it. Oh my God! Very hard, right, straight punch to the face with a kick. That Igor guy is an incredible good mover. He moves and he's explosive. He's a good fighter, good conditioning, everything.
Boy, again, we are seeing much like an earlier quarterfinal match. The smaller guy trying to just level with all his power the much bigger American.
I mean, Igor's throwing 3, 4, 5 hooks to the face of the Mangler, and the Mangler's having a hard time staying up there.
The crowd, again, almost entirely Ukrainian, although I have seen 2 or 3, maybe as many as 10 Americans spattered among the crowd here of 16,000 inside the National Sports Palace in Kiev, Ukraine, the capital city. And this has just been one great bout as we go almost to the 13-minute mark. Again, no time limit, so these guys will fight until one of them cannot no longer continue, either by knockout or submission. And right now, Igor going away with the right hooks, this time with the left. He is tapped out. Fred Floyd has said he's had enough. This match just over 13 minutes, and he has got to be one tired fighter. As he crumples over in the middle of the cage, Ігор Vovchanчин is the man that will advance to the semifinals after he puts down, due to tap out, Fred Floyd, a guy much bigger, a guy much stronger, seemingly, to be able to endure the kind of punishment that Igor was dishing out. Fred Floyd still standing by, boss. looking very much like he put it all into it. But again, I think the time limit started to take its toll on Fred.
Yes, it was for sure, 1,000%. I must say that Fred can incassate a lot of punches. He has a really hard head, because I was surprised that it took this long, because he got a few very hard punches on the head.
All right, Ron Van Cleef has gone inside the cage to try to get a word with our champion, perhaps even try to get a word with Fred Flойд, although at this point, Flойд may be so tired he may not be able to talk, although I have seen the Ukrainian, he has already left the cage area. So I'm not so sure that Flойd will be able to say very much to Ron, although our ring announcer, Charlie Anselong, will now have the official decision.
The time of the bout, 13 minutes, 40 seconds. Fred the Mangler Flойд taps out the winner, Ігор Вовчанчин.
Ігор Вовчанчин will advance as we go to the replay, Ron. This was hardly a fight when the time limit continued to drag on, because Igor started to use his power against Flойд.
Igor showed his superior training and his superior stamina and conditioning for this event. When you go 10, 12, 13 minutes in an event like this, it is the training, it is the mental attitude, it is the fortitude that one shows that keeps them going.
All right, he misses with a left hook there, Boz, but then he comes right back with a right hook.
Incredible. He hits hard. He hits with power. Yes, he's got everything with him. He's got a good conditioning. I think this is a very good fighter. It's going to be a runner-up for the finals also.